Okay, guys, I've got something very special for everybody today. David Maxfield, I would like to welcome you to the Handicap Golf Shows You Golf Simulator podcast. If anybody who's watching this doesn't already know, David actually has his own very popular YouTube channel, David Maxfield Golf. So just for my audience, please, Dave, could you just describe what your YouTube channel is and what people can find over there?
Yeah, well, I guess the YouTube channel predominantly is in and around golf simulators. I use the Garmin R10, the Rapsodo MLM2PRO, also SkyTrak, and hopefully soon a couple of others. But yeah, predominantly it's in and around that. I do a lot of product testing. I do also a lot of, I guess, information sharing and just deep diving into those, budget-friendly launch monitors that people can go out and buy for themselves, and just being able to sort of put that information up there so that they can make a pretty informed decision on which one's going to be best for their game.
How did you actually get into simulator golf?
Well, actually what happened is that the Garmin R10 came out. I was already doing some YouTube stuff, just sort of, here and there mucking around just on course while I was playing golf and all of that sort of thing. And then from there, my mum actually, the Garmin R10 came out. My mum bought me the Garmin R10 so that I could start using it. And I had like this really cheap sort of golf net that I bought off eBay, and I sort of started with that, and then I tried to build my own golf net that was a little better. That was terrible. I tried to build my own DIY mats and stuff. And then a company like Spawnia contacted me about their golf nets, and so I started hitting into those Spawnia golf nets, which were absolutely fantastic, and it really kind of took off and grew from there. And then the 24/7 Golf guys got in contact with me as well about their home garage simulator setup, and yeah, ever since then it really does change the whole home launch monitor experience when you're able to project onto a screen of any sort really, and actually visualize all of your shots. And it just, I think, helps with a different level of detail in your practice rather than just hitting a ball into a net with no real feedback. So yeah, that's sort of how it all started. And then just as I was going into it, I just started sharing a lot of the stuff that I personally wanted to know. To be honest with you, I had a whole lot of questions about the units. I wanted to know how to get accurate numbers. I wanted to know, are they even accurate when you take it on course? So all of those questions that I just had, I just filmed them and shared them with the audience, really.
In your sim setup, do you use it mainly for practice, or do you use it mainly for playing rounds? I know obviously you film a lot of YouTube stuff, so I'm guessing that takes up a hell of a lot of your time. But when you do get a bit of time to play on your sim, do you use it mainly for practice or for playing on courses?
Pretty much always practice. I don't really do a whole lot of course sim play because we move to the golf course. So if I want to go and jump on the course, I'd sort of just take the buggy straight out on there. But I just find that the simulators offer such a great avenue where you can really dial in your game and do all of your practice on there. So whenever I get a spare moment and I'm not filming something, that's generally what I'm doing on the sim, whether it's the R10, the MLM2PRO, or the SkyTrak. It's just pretty much what I'll do is just practice, which is really, really good, because then when we go to the course, I almost never use the driving range. So it's just, I just use them for those two functions pretty much. The course play is good, and I know that a lot of people love doing course rounds, especially if you're in countries where you have a lot more of a wet season than what we do here, or like Canada where they're under snow. So I guess the environment that I'm in, we're pretty blessed here on the Gold Coast. It's like summer all year round. So yeah, we never really have like an off season of golf.
I'm so jealous of that. I really am.
So I was listening to guys talking about the golf season, and I didn't know what they meant, because I'm like, when's the end? When's the start? We got it all year round.
Like you say, it's great for us when it comes to winter. Having our own simulator setups at home obviously allows us to keep ticking over, have a little bit of fun playing on the virtual courses and stuff. But yeah, it's still no substitute for real golf, I don't think, is it?
No, it's really not. I mean, you don't get to play in the elements, you don't get the wind, you don't get to, you're just sort of hitting a lot of static numbers, which is great help. It keeps your swing going, it keeps your timing of hitting the ball and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, you don't really know how good your game is until you're on course.
Okay, David. So moving on to talk about some launch monitors. I know you've done a load of testing with the Garmin R10. You've done a lot of testing recently with the new MLM2 that's come out, and you're just starting to do a lot of testing with SkyTrak as well. So you've got a fair bit of knowledge on these like more budget entry level launch monitors, so I'd love to pick your brains about them. So out of those three main launch monitors that you've been testing, which one would you say is your favorite?
Well, I think it really is a tricky question, and I hate sitting on the fence with it because I love to give people just direct answers. But even though they're all very similar, they're all budget launch monitors, they do actually have some unique functions within each of them. Like, say, for example, the Garmin R10 has your face path, your club path, your angle of attack, which is really important for some people. They want to know that data. And it is really important data to have. It's club data without having to use any dots or anything like that. And if you've got the RCT balls, then you get the accurate measured ball data as well. Then you go into the MLM2PRO, and I'm a massive fan of their impact vision. I really do love that. And when you can go back, it's a little bit frustrating at the moment because you can't see it in real time. You sort of got to go through your session and then look at it maybe 10 minutes later when it uploads to the app, and then you can go through and see every shot. So I'm hoping that in an update, they can make that as part of the live options where they can see that impact vision. But the impact vision is really, really good. I've actually got a video coming out about that as well, so I won't say too much about that. But just the ability to be able to see what your club face is doing when it impacts the ball is, in my mind, almost as good, if not better, than having the angle of attack and club details anyway, because it's something that you can go and take to your golf coach and say, these are the shots that I've been hitting. This is how my club is impacting on the ball. Whereas if you go and take angle of attack data or club path data or all of that sort of stuff, the coaches are still going to have to see what you're actually doing. You know, like it'd be pretty dangerous to sort of interpret that data just off some numbers. Whereas if they can see the video of it, I think that's a lot more helpful. So there's pros and cons to both of those. And then you've got SkyTrak, I think, which still, even though the unit's like 9 or 10 years old now, for me, I think that it still sits as a cut above. It's a camera unit launch monitor. So you've got advantages with that people probably don't take into consideration. So I'm in a really hot climate here. So I can have a portable air conditioner in my garage and not affect the unit's performance at all. So I can't do that with a Garmin R10. I can't do that with a Rapsodo MLM2PRO, which for me is a big bonus because if I'm filming all the time and my garage is really hot, then I've really got like 30 minutes of record time before my camera overheats. But if I've got the portable aircon in there, then I can literally record for as long as I want. So to me, that's a major benefit. Also, again, the measured data is, I think, as good as the major launch monitors when you're using SkyTrak. And it's like I said, it's a 10-year-old monitor. So in a roundabout way, I guess that would be my answer. So I hope that helps.
If I asked you what are the best three things about the Garmin R10, what would you say?
Definitely price. I think that what the Garmin R10 has done, which kind of shook up the golf world the most, was that it gave the average Joe or the home user the opportunity to have a portable launch monitor either in their garage or they can take it down to the range that really is portable. I mean, like SkyTrak is there, but it's not something that you're going to really want to be lugging around down to the range. And the same with GS3 and all those kind of things. I know that guys do it, but for the average home user, I think the price point that it hit, it gave just about everybody the opportunity to own one in their home. So definitely that. Then the accuracy of the data would be the next thing. So it's one thing being able to have a Garmin R10, but then to also make the data accurate is incredibly important. And I think the introduction of the RCT balls was a massive win for Garmin because it definitely enhanced that experience for a lot of people. And then third, I'd just say how the platform is open. They haven't locked off the platform to their own software. They haven't tried to bed it down. Like, I think that they know that, you know, their software has still got a way to go, even though it's pretty good. It's still got a way to go. So they've been able to open it up to guys like Awesome Golf. They've given you E6 straight off the back with 5 free courses. I know a lot of guys use GSPro, even though it's not an approved app. They haven't stopped it. Like they haven't put a block there where the API doesn't work. So they've left that open API there, even though GSPro isn't an approved app. So, you know, you got to give them a thumbs up for that. They recognize that their platform has some downsides, and they've partnered with people to make that user experience better.
So on the other hand then, if I have to ask you, what is the worst thing about the Garmin R10? What would you say?
Maybe the fact that it is a hard one, because I think for the price it's a great unit, and there are downsides definitely. I think like setting it up on the stand, it can be frustrating because you've got to set it up and align it all the time and calibrate it. I would prefer if the Garmin R10, I did have a video that went out that said what needs to change or what must change with the Garmin R10. Like I'd prefer if it had either its own internal leveling system or even a base that could be adjustable, like kind of like the Mevo Plus or something like that, just to put it at the right height or the right angle. Then not only that, I'd like to see Wi-Fi introduced into the unit as a direct connection for Wi-Fi, because it would just be better to be able to do that if you're on a driving range with an iPad, as opposed to having to tether your phone if you don't have like a SIM card that goes into your iPad. Then I think see, Home to Hero is really cheap. Like I could say that Home to Hero could be improved quite a lot, but then for its price point, it's so cheap that I think you kind of get what you pay for at the same time.
Right, so I'm going to ask you the same questions then about the new Rapsodo MLM2 because, like I said to you before, I don't have any experience with this launch monitor just yet. So if I had to ask you what are the 3 best things about the MLM2, what would you say?
Well, for me, the fact that it uses a Callaway ChromeSoft X is a massive bonus. So that could be a positive and a negative, I guess. So that could probably answer both the questions. But for me, I love that because the RPT ball is the same ball that I use on the course, and I cut it open just to make sure because I wasn't convinced at the start, but it is. So that's a big bonus for me. The fact that I don't have to use an RCT ball, which is a Titleist Pro V1, even though they do play similar, those balls actually, by the way, but it's just confidence inspiring that I'm hitting the exact same ball that I use on course in the simulator, and they're the numbers. So that's a big bonus for me. The next one would be the impact vision. I really do like that feature. I think that feature is amazing. And in terms of the app, the ability that it has to store that data, even though you can't see it live, like I mentioned before, you can go back and see that, for as long as you want. I can go back and see the very first sessions that I hit with it. And you can see progression of what's getting better or what's getting worse, or even if you wanted to go and fit yourself and just look at your lie angles, like is your toe up, is your toe down, all of that sort of stuff, like it gives you that feedback. And so I think that impact vision is really, really good. They would probably be my two points there of a massive tick for me with the MLM2 Pro, and obviously the price point.
So then, if I had to ask you what's probably the worst thing about the MLM2, what would you say?
I'd have to say the launch. For a product that is so good, like it's a really, really good product, I think, and this is not a knock on the company itself, but I think the launch hasn't done it the justice that it probably deserves. I think the unit itself is really capable, and for me, I feel like in a way that I've actually got a bit of a golden goose unit. I don't know why, because mine just seems to work. Like, the first initial setup did take me about an hour and a half. Like, that was pretty frustrating. But then after that, I've had a couple of disconnects. There was a couple with Awesome Golf when I was trying to play the core stuff where it just kind of froze or disconnected. So I think that's a bug that they're trying to work out with Awesome Golf. But other than that, mine's been really good. However, that being said, a lot of other people have had connection issues and disconnects and hitting 2 shots and misreads and, just little things that you would have thought should have probably been ironed out before it went to market. And I guess, they would have definitely tested it. Like, they would have tested it to make sure that it is good. But then when you've got to go and mass produce all of those units, and when you've got a take up of a massive number of people, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people trying to buy these units. That testing is going to just go ballistic. Like, it's going to get done on a massive scale. And yeah, I'm not sure what went wrong there. But I think the launch didn't help them very much. When I put some positive reviews up about the unit on my channel, I've had a number of people, quite a lot of people actually commenting, saying that they've heard all of this negative feedback, so they're just going to go to the Garmin R10. In saying that, I think I've had the Garmin R10 since the outset as well, and I think people forget that the origins of the Garmin R10 needed a lot of bug fixes too. They needed a lot of updates. They needed a lot of things that happened pretty much straight away. They also had stock issues when it first came out. Granted, it was kind of like going through COVID. But yeah, there was issues there too. So we just got to give it the time to go through that teething process.
It's really similar, isn't it? How the Garmin was released and how it was so in demand compared to how the Rapsodo MLM2 has now been released, and that's so in demand. And so I'm presuming Rapsodo are going to be quite proactive with the bug fixing and stuff.
Yeah, well, I think they're definitely putting them out there. And the thing with bug fixes is that you can go and fix one thing and then you'll find another. And that's just the way that it goes. I mean, and people have got to be patient. They've got to be understanding about it. I think Rapsodo have done a great job actually in trying to hear from the community of people that are using the units. So, they've created their Facebook page. Justin's on there. He's actually replying to posts and comments. So they're doing everything that they can to support the community. They're responsive on their Instagram messages, all of that sort of stuff. So I just think that when I say the launch, it's also the perception that goes behind the unit. I think people have just got to give it just a little bit of time. Just be patient with it. Don't go and sell your unit because you're having some disconnection issues. Just bear with it for the moment, and it will get fixed.
You spoke about like the setup process for the MLM2. So can you just explain why was it so difficult to set up?
There was a connection between your home Wi-Fi that you had to do and then the direct Wi-Fi connection as well. And since then, maybe it's with the update or whatever happened, but it's like you got the unit and then there was a number of updates that you had to do. It was 2 or 3 or 4. And the instructions on them weren't exactly 100% clear on how to do that. And I think a number of people have found that in the initial setup that it just took, an hour and a half to even some people were saying up to 3 hours. Whether that's an exaggeration or not, I don't know. But once that was done, it was fine. And now I think the updates are pretty clear on their instructions. They tell you that, you've got to have it plugged into a wall and wait for the white light, to basically turn red again. I think that was where people kind of tripped himself up a little bit, is because you'd connect to the unit, then you'd start the install of the update, and then all of a sudden your phone would sort of just go back as though it's not connected. But as long as the unit had the white light, and if you waited 5 or 10 minutes, then it would go red and the update was actually already done. You just have to reconnect back to the unit. So I think that's where people were saying that it was kicking them out of the app, or it was disconnecting while they were trying to do the update, and they were just pulling their hair out by, turning the unit off and turning it back on again, and so on and so forth. But that sort of stuff I believe is actually fixed now. I think they've ironed that out pretty well.
Dave, what's your experience with GSPro?
It's one of my biggest bugbears, to be honest with you, is because I would love to use it. I'm in a bit of a bind with it though, because being a Garmin ambassador, it's not an approved app. So
right, yeah.
As much as everybody else can use it, if it is the moment that it becomes an approved app, I'll be straight onto it. But even if it was an approved app, there are some things with GSPro for me that I don't quite understand. So I'm a Mac user, and everything is Apple. I've got an iPad, iPhone, MacBook, laptop, all that sort of stuff. If they had an iOS app, I probably would have already been on board with it. But the fact that I've got to go out and buy a PC, it's probably just hindered me a little bit, Yeah, it's not a big deal, but it's like I've got to go and buy a PC just for that sole purpose of running one software program.
What about the Golf Club 2019? Have you used that?
That's actually coming soon. So when I just said PC, I've got the 24/7 Golf guys are going to be sending me up a PC. So maybe I could look at GSPro then, with the Golf Club 2019 on it as well. So that will all go in with their SkyTrak bundle and all of that sort of stuff. So I am super, super keen on getting that. I took a look at the software myself. I was a little bit shocked at how much it was, but then when I took a look at it, I was like, wow, it actually is really quite cool. So I can't wait to get my hands on that and start the TGC journey. I think that's going to be super, super cool. And I think what we were mentioning before with guys that are, in those environments like yourselves and the guys in Canada and those kind of places where they have a very long off season. I mean, to me, that would be the perfect setup. Like just SkyTrak, TGC 2019, you're set. Like you're literally set. You don't really need any more than that.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I started with TGC in 2019, and like I say, that initial price is just outrageous. Like when I just couldn't bring myself to pay £900, whatever it was at the time, to pay for TGC, but when I did bite the bullet and I did it, I didn't regret it one bit, and I'm sure you're going to love it, mate. I'm looking forward to seeing some of your content on the golf club as well. But yeah, like I haven't used it for ages now. Since I got GSPro, I just find myself gravitating towards GSPro a lot, and I don't know why. I can't really pinpoint it because the Golf Club 2019 is amazing, and I loved everything about it. But like I say, I think it might just be the community side of things with the GSPro at the moment. Just seems to be a lot more responsive. If you've got any issues, they get resolved quite easily. It's quite a nice community that they've got over there. If somebody's watching this video and they are thinking about buying a golf simulator, whether it's to just play indoor golf or to maybe improve their game, what kind of advice would you give them?
Always work within your budget. I mean, there's a lot of great budget-friendly options out there, like the Garmin R10, the MLM2PRO. I mean, if you can, go SkyTrak and have TGC 2019. I mean, that's always going to be, you know, the premium setup at the moment, really. I mean, SkyTrak 2 is just coming out soon as well. You've done a number of videos on that, which I've watched, which is, you know, really cool. So that's really exciting for everybody. I would say just start somewhere. I think people can get a bit overwhelmed with the setup costs of a home simulator, like, oh, well, how would I do this? Or they want to see, you know, the big simulator. Like, I mean, I started literally with a $30 eBay net, just hitting wedges in a very short, like, I don't even know how tall my garage was, like 8-foot garage or something like that. And then I moved outside. So I'd just say, just start, just get yourself something. The unit's going to be the most important thing to start with. And yeah, just start from there.
Why did you decide to start your YouTube channel?
I don't have, I guess, an exact answer on that. I mean, I started quite a number of years ago, maybe 4 years ago, when I sort of actually picked up golf seriously, because I was a cricketer for the most part of my life, and then I had my first son, and I didn't even pick up. I didn't even have any golf clubs. For about 3 years. So I really started golf quite late. And I mean, I used to go for the odd hit, you know, once or twice a year with some mates or my dad. And then I picked it up properly and got my first golf membership like 4 years ago. So started, I think, on like a 26 handicap, 25, 26 handicap, and just played pretty much every single day. So I just started filming stuff. I started getting into the habit of seeing where my swing was just for myself, you know, just filming it on my iPhone, seeing where my swing was, where I needed to be. And then from that, it just grew into YouTube. And I mean, the views were very ordinary, and the product that I was, you know, producing in terms of the editing content was also very ordinary. But it grew. It just grew. And then, like I said, my mum got me the Garmin R10, and then I just started sharing some stuff on that and realized that it was a little bit more popular than what I would have thought in terms of the views that it was getting. And then, yeah, just really kind of started from there. And
yeah, it's interesting because when when I got in contact with you to do this little interview, I thought I best do a bit of research on Dave. So I went on your YouTube channel and like I scrolled to your first ever videos, and I was surprised because I thought, well, I just presumed that all of your content would have been around like launch monitors and stuff like that, but obviously it wasn't. It started off with like little product reviews and that, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I was gonna a number of years ago after I think I went in my first round of golf that I played after getting a membership. I went to a like a pawn shop, like a cash converters here, and I got some golf clubs for, I think I got like $100 for the whole set of the golf clubs, and I went out and I think I shot, I don't know, it must have been 30 over par or something like that. I might have been lucky to break 100. And I thought, I actually really love this sport. I think I'm going to turn professional. So anyway, from there, I just played every single day. And then as time grew on, I realized that I was getting older and time was getting shorter and people were shooting 8 under on the regular, and I probably wasn't going to be a professional. But I found YouTube, and I thought, you know what, I don't have to be a professional. I can just do this. And it's really good. And I think YouTube creates a great opportunity for a lot of people, you know, like myself.
I'm going to finish, David, with a little bit of a quick fire round of questions for you. So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to just give me the first answer that comes into your mind. I've only got 10, but yeah, cool. Hopefully it'll be a little bit of fun. So my first question for you, David, is Rapsodo MLM2 or Garmin R10?
I don't know. Right at this moment, MLM2PRO.
I think you've kind of answered this earlier on in the interview, but Garmin R10 or SkyTrak?
Depending on the budget, SkyTrak, if budget's not an issue.
Favorite golfer?
I'd have to say Cam Smith.
Indoor or outdoor golf?
Outdoor, definitely.
Favorite sim software and why?
Awesome Golf. For me personally, it covers every single base that I'm looking for in terms of practice.
Your dream launch monitor?
It'd have to be a GC Quad.
Okay, number 7. Has owning a golf simulator improved your golf game?
Yes and no. I'd say that it kept it definitely more consistent in the times when you're not playing. So if I don't go out and play on the course for a week or two, I'm still in rhythm because I'm swinging in the golf simulator. So in that respect, yes. In terms of the handicap, it's 2.6, I think, now. So it's stayed relatively the same, but I haven't blown out to 5 or 6 or 8 or anything like that.
Are launch monitors worth the money?
Definitely. I would, 100%. I think now that I've had a few of them, I would really struggle to not have one.
Drive for show or put for dough?
Drive for show.
Good man.
If you can drive the green, then you're okay to 3-putt.
Last one, PGA Tour or Live?
Oh, they're so different, aren't they? I guess if we can spend a minute on this one, it's probably the thing that I didn't understand about that whole argument is that there was so much, I guess, ferocity coming from the PGA Tour about Live, and I was looking at it and I was thinking, they're such different products. Like, they're not even the same. I mean, you've got Live, which has 3-day events with shotgun starts and team events as well as individual events, which I thought was fantastic. And then you've got the PGA Tour, which is like the traditional style of golf, where it's a 4-day event, there is cuts, and there's no shotgun starts. So to me, I kind of look at it like you got Test cricket and then you've got the 2020 Big Bash. And they're both really exciting, but if I'm talking about which one I find myself watching the most at the moment, it's definitely Live. And whether that's because there's a buzz around it being new or because, we got the Aussie team that's playing together, like that's really cool. I find that when it comes to the end of the tournament, even if there's a leader that's in front by 4 or 5 shots, you've still got something to watch for because you've got the team events as well. You want to see who wins as a team. And whereas on the PGA Tour, if Rahm's in front by 10 shots and there's 2 holes to go, well, you know who's going to win.
That's right.
So,
yeah. It's interesting that I'm guessing like it's getting a bit of media attention in Australia, the Live Tour, because where we are, it just seems to have died down quite a lot in the media.
I think what makes Australians really excited about it, and probably why I'm definitely on board with it, is Australia's been so far removed from the rest of the world in terms of golf. Even if you get your Q School tour card here and you go on the Australian tour, even if you perform really well, the cost of the expenses that we have and the money, the prize money that you would win, I think it's just really, really hard to even do it. You've got to either be financially backed by somebody quite heavily. Otherwise, just the cost of accommodation, travel, even if you're winning, you don't really make that much more money. So I think that what we're excited about is that if Liv come over here and really inject a lot of money into Australian professional golf, is that it gives them another avenue to turn pro and to really play golf for a living. And I'm definitely all for that. Anything that's going to give, up and coming kids more avenues to being professional. Definitely all for it.
Right, Dave. Really, thank you very much for coming on the Handicap Golf podcast here. It's been so interesting to get to know you, to get to know a little bit more about yourself and your YouTube channel and your opinions on different launch monitors and things like that. So, yeah, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I do appreciate it.
Awesome. Cheers, Mitch. Appreciate it.
Hit that like button if you've got value from this video. Subscribe to the Handicap Golf channel and then watch this video that's on the screen right now.